Joining me for our P-Wolves profile is the newest member of the Nebraska Wesleyan coaching staff and family, Dave Northey, who has taken over as the men's tennis coach. Dave, I guess this has come about with the move by Nebraska Wesleyan to the Iowa Intercollegiate Athletic Conference that you've come on board as a coach.
Yes, the men's and women's now are split in a season, with the women going in the fall and the men going in the spring, so they needed somebody to, take over the spring portion of it.
Now, with women's tennis in the fall and men's in the spring, Rick Harley is still on the scene, so you're coaching the men, he's coaching the women?
That's true, yes.
Yeah. Now, tell me about the Iowa Intercollegiate Athletic Conference competition and what has happened so far as the men's tennis is concerned.
Well, we've had 3 matches. We started with kind of a duel right off the bat with Doane, and then we went to Waterloo and had kind of a small little tournament there, and then we just finished the IAC regional singles tournament last weekend up in Gustavus Adolphus up there. And then so that kind of finishes right now as kind of a preseason, and then we have a break now until I believe it's the 22nd of January, and then we start our season then, our main season.
Now explain, the IAC singles competition is now, and then the team competition is later on. Tell me about that.
Well, I'm kind of new at this, so that's actually a pretty good question. I just know that we do the singles now, and then the team goes as far as a national ranking and stuff in the spring to go along with that, and then at the end of the season as far as qualifying for nationals and stuff. So that's the way they've decided to do it.
Yeah. So you'll get more busy in the spring.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's a total full schedule. We go from, basically the 22nd of January all the way into May. So it'll be, pretty much every week.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and your tennis background.
Well, I've been doing this for over 40 years and have continued to stay in it. I had the opportunity, very fortunate to play on the ATP Tour, top 200 in the world. Played some really great players back then, had a win over Roscoe Tanner, just that kind of thing. Stayed with it, then got into teaching after an injury. Taught at various clubs throughout the country. It's just been a really great experience, and I continue to do it. I've spent almost 2 years touring with my son, who I taught to play, and he's taking a little break right now, but then we're going to go back and hit it also and go back on the tour.
I see that you have been a teaching pro and coach all over the country. Maybe if you could talk a little bit about some of the big names in tennis that you've had brushes with or coached.
Yeah, well, I was down in Florida quite a bit and had some exposure to Andre Agassi. That's kind of going back a little bit. But as I was working my way onto the tour quite a ways back, I was training at a camp. Harry Hopman had a camp down in Largo, Florida, who I consider to be probably the best coach ever. And of course, back then he had all the great players, anywhere from Bjorn Borg to John McEnroe to Jimmy Connors and all those players. So I really had a great start into my career to get to be able to play and practice with those guys.
Wow, those are the biggest names. What was it like coaching Agassi?
It was interesting. He, of course, was pretty young then, and like all youngsters, like to do whatever they could do. But he did have that special part in him that you just knew he was going to be great. He had a great work ethic and just had a lot of natural ability. His father was a boxer, and so he had that competition already built in with him. So it was, you could just see it was going to happen.
Oh, interesting. Do you still stay in touch with him, some of those guys?
Oh, no, not really. I mean, I still stay, Roscoe. I actually went to high school with Jimmy Connors, so, it's been a while, but everybody kind of goes their separate ways. But I still get out and play, especially with my son, and we play quite a few national tournaments, and there's a lot of senior tournaments we also play, and I've had a lot of good fortune playing father-son doubles, which is just kind of priceless there. So
yeah, tell me a little bit about that. I'll bet you that is neat, father-son doubles.
It is. We go around. Now that I'm over 60, there's what's called a senior and a super senior tour, and he's still really young. Kind of had my children later in life, and so, but it's kind of an advantage to have him still be young and as big and strong as he is. So we go in there and do a pretty good job and a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, Dave, thanks very much for being with us. It's been very interesting, and welcome to the Wesleyan coaching family.
Well, thank you very much. I'm really going to enjoy this.
Dave Northey, our P-Wolves Profile today, the men's tennis coach at Wesleyan. And P-Wolves Profiles are brought to you by Leach Camper Sales, the Wild Bird Habitat Store, Joyce Sherwood, financial professional with Central Financial Services, Emo Flooring, and Firehouse Subs, now open just north of 66th and O Streets.